Calling all around the world. Mumbo jumbo, stir up the gumbo. Calling all around the world. Get it. Start with a roux, that's me and you. Add the Holy Trinity. That's rhythm, chords, and melody. Come on now, add your spice. Tell your story, very nice. Calling all around the world. Stir that vocal gumbo now. Calling all stir it up, stir it up. Get it.
Oh, Ruth Bader and Ginsburg and I are partying tonight. The ghost of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I heard that she could really drink, really could hang with the boys.
Yeah. All those boys in the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Speaking of that, let's congratulate our president-elect Joe Biden and Vice President, historic win, Kamala Harris.
I am so excited. I'm so relieved. And even though they haven't really conceded the election yet,
it's a matter of time.
Yes,
really.
yes. But it still feels like a new world. It feels like hope is out there and within reach now. So we're not.
Yeah. Well, it's step one.
Yeah, I know. It felt like, could we just enjoy this for a second? And then like at the day after, you're like, okay, we have so much work to do. It's just, There's so much to do. There's so much to do, but still it's really nice to tap into the effort that it took to vote and all that the number of people that showed up to vote. And it just tells the story about how important actually our vote matters.
Yeah.
And we really can make a difference. So
I'll tell you though, that evening it was joyous just for a minute to let it all go down, let it all loose and let it all hang out and celebrate and feel that joy was pretty great. And in New York, in the city, it was really prevalent and very explosive.
I loved that video. What you had it up on Facebook, like the minute you hit the street. I mean, New York City, were they just honking their horns and banging pots and pans all day?
Yep, pretty much.
That is the stuff, man.
I know. Just flags waving from cars, all kinds of flags.
Yeah.
All kinds of flags, which is what our country is, really.
Yes.
It's a whole bunch of flags.
It's a whole bunch of flags, just letting them fly out there, and they're all welcome.
I'm going to fly my freak flag tonight.
Listen,
what are you drinking?
Wait a minute.
What are you drinking?
Well, have we even welcomed anybody?
Hello.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Vocal Gumbo Happy Hour. And Janice and I are so relaxed and comfortable that we forgot to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And look what she's doing. She's already getting busy with the happy hour aspect of this evening. What have you got there?
Well, I have a delightful Aglianico from the Campania region of Italy, which is a very strong wine, fort, with overtones of cherry and brake fluid.
Wow, that sounds so appetizing. I don't have anything nearly as sexy as that because I realized I looked in my refrigerator and my cabinets are bare. But I have this Sauvignon Blanc, which feels very summery. But what the hell? It's a cocktail, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, so, you had a tornado. You deserve a drink.
Listen, you know what? I have to tell you something, and I wish I actually gave Lori some photos of literally right next door to my house at 9:30 the other night, Sunday night. We got that alarm that said basically tornado warning, go into your basements. And it didn't take us 2 seconds to get down there because honestly, the house was already shaking, and we live in an old house from the 1870s. And I was like, what the hell is going on out there? And we went down into the basement, and we're all kind of giggling. My husband and my daughter and I were all like, this is weird. We're ridiculous. But I'm listening outside, and there's this like ooh sound. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, woke up the next morning because it was over as fast as you know it. Do you like my sound effects? And seriously, right next door to us, there's a red barn and all the trees are down. Like everything is cracked off, like old trees, ancient trees, cracked off. Trees are laying across the road. Power lines are down. So all I can say is we missed the tornado. Can't take me down. No,
here's Jill. So you weren't in Kansas anymore. Okay. As always, we want to thank all the essential workers who are keeping us going during this incredible historic time. Thank you, doctors, nurses, sanitation workers, post office officials, storekeepers. We thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, the postmans, the delivery services, the grocery clerks, we're just also grateful, and it feels like as we're sort of like going under again for another deep dive of this pandemic, we kind of now know the drill, and if everybody's got their smarts together enough to really wear those masks and socially distance. We don't have to have our nurses come on prime time. Well, actually CNN and MSNBC going, hi, I have people coming in and they're going on the respirator and they're still like in complete denial that they might have COVID, right? And they're mad as hell and they're so ill and yet they're still like, it's a hoax. And you're just like, oh my God. And these poor workers are going, come on, people. What do we have to do?
They're getting overworked. That's the problem. And space in the hospital is getting tight.
Wear a mask.
Please wear a mask. I mean, yes, please wear a mask so that Lauren and I can go back to work.
Yeah, we don't have to sit in our kitchens with our blazers on. Why don't we have blazers on?
Well, I'm not wearing anything from the waist down, so I'm good. So quickly, let us tell everybody about episode 9, baby.
That's right.
Which is episode 9. There it is, which is going to be November 28th and 29th. Mm-hmm. We have an encore presentation November 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European friends, or those that are observing the Sabbath Friday evening, perhaps. Who knows? You might be busy Friday night.
Might be, might not.
You might not. So we would like to tell you who's going to be on that show. What? Yeah. So I'll start and then you can finish.
Okay. I bet your energy is off the charts today. I don't know what vitamins you had or anything, but you are jacked. Go, girl.
Okay. We are going to have a 25th anniversary video performance from the group Impact, which is all of the guys that were in Impact got together and did a video.
This is going to be fun.
25 years of harmony. And my Manhattan Transfer partner, mine and Cheryl Bentyne's partner, Tris Curlis, was one of those Impact people. He was one of the founding members, actually. So we're going to have that. We're going to have Rhiannon, who was doing a collaboration with Lauren and myself, Lawrence Hobgood on piano, Allison Miller on drums, and Pura Fay, who is a Native American singer living in Saskatoon. That's going to be wild.
And you heard Rhiannon on our last show. She did a beautiful improvisation, kind of a spiritual shout, if you will, to everybody to get out and vote. It was like the last show before the vote. And so we're happy to have her because this original composition of hers is actually a love song to our children on the planet. So Get ready for a very spiritual experience from her.
From Chile, we have Claudia Acuna. There she is. Isn't she beautiful?
Goddess.
She's a goddess. Speaking of goddesses.
Yeah.
Jane Monheit.
Oh, my God.
Is doing a collaboration with Lauren and I.
And how nice that like her prior teacher from her early years at Manhattan School of Music, Peter Eldridge, is going to also be on the show. So those two have been dear friends since the early days. And it was really fun to watch her star rise personally. Wow. So much fun.
I'm just going to say this, the song we're doing with Peter is a sort of tribute in a way to Thanksgiving and the art of overeating.
There is an art to it. I think I've got it perfected, which I can prove with the inner tube that is now exists around my midsection. But once again, blazers and shooting from here up.
No problem.
That look good.
Yeah. It's the COVID-19,
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. We have our young artist, Maddie Pizzarelli.
Oh.
You may find that last name very familiar.
Yes. And I remember seeing her at LaGuardia High School, where my daughter went to high school as well. And I remember coming in and Maddie was finishing up, and they have this, the new music group. And she took the stage that night and sang some of her originals and then sang backgrounds for everybody else. And I was like, that one.
Yeah.
And she's such a fabulous composer, singer, songwriter, kind of folky, kind of a really great wordsmith. And so we're very, very excited to have her as our young artist.
She has quite a pedigree as well. Her father is a good little guitar player.
He can play.
Yeah, he can play,
And apparently his dad can play too.
Yes. Bucky, may he rest in peace.
I know.
And her mom is a wonderful singer as well.
Jessica, absolutely. No, it's a whole family affair, but we plucked Maddie out of the tribe, and she's gonna do something for us, which we're very excited about.
Yeah. And then I'm going to do a collaboration with the wonderful pianist Rini Rosny.
Lucky, look at you.
There she is.
Well, I can beat you on that because I'm doing a collaboration with Addison Fry. So, and they both, look at these shots. They're both behind their pianos doing introspective piano player things.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And so I guess it's going to be the piano duo playoff.
It is. It's going to be piano duo sing-off.
Yes. Okay.
Which I love. And our last two gentlemen are out off the charts. Great. Reggie Bowens, who we've had at Vocalmania. And
wasn't he on the sing-off?
He was on the sing-off, actually.
So there you go. So how do you like that segue? Reggie was actually on that show.
Yeah.
Great educator, killer singer, piano player, arranger, and Janice and I are gonna jump in and hang with him. We're
gonna hang with him in the 70s, I think.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Yeah, I worked on that one today. It was really, really fun. And then finally, we have Paul Jost.
Fabulous jazz singer, composer. Prior was a drummer. Made his career, I think, initially as a drummer, and then started to sing later in his career. So he's got a really great sensibility of he's super connected, obviously, to the rhythmic aspect of singing and hooking up with his band. So very, very expressive artist. And so I don't know, that's kind of a bandbox show. We could go to bed after that one.
I intend to go to bed after that one. And then let us just say that for episode 9, we are going to donate 10% of our huge earnings to Gilda's Club, which is a cancer support community and a wonderful, wonderful organization.
Yeah. And I loved Gilda Radner. Oh my God. We grew up with her on SNL. My God. Wow. Talk about someone who you treasured. And that's a really wonderful, wonderful organization. And, and if anybody wants to, you can buy your tickets from Moment House for our show on the 28th and 29th, but you can also continue to make donations to us, because that, of course, 10% goes to these charities that we donate to every month. And of course, we have Patreon, Janice.
Yes, we do.
There's always Patreon. You can become our monthly family member, and there's many different levels. $5 level, which is frankly, I think, the most important one, and it allows for all of us to sort of support one another, but also be a part of what we're offering on that platform. And so go to patreon.com/vocalgumbo and check out some of the tiers and join us, because we would just absolutely love to have you. And
you can get this fabulous, incredible swag. Look at these little items. You can get your very own antique Local Gumbo, Corkscrew, and Wine Stopper.
Because ideally you don't drink the whole bottle of wine in one fell swoop, which is
yeah, in a perfect world, you
in a
wouldn't
perfect world.
do that.
But in COVID times of COVID, it's anybody's guess whether or not you're going to need the wine stopper. But there's lots of different swag that we're going to be bringing your way. And so we want to also thank our good friends over at Audio Technica, who have we have these lovely little in-ears that we love, as well as our recording headphones and microphones. So we're very, very excited about them. And Tag Your It, who is doing all of our product merch. So we're grateful to all of them. And so whatever, like, can we just please get to like the stuff that we're doing tonight?
Well, we have a very, very special couple of guests. This first lady is my singing sister. She's been my partner in the Manhattan Transfer since 1979, and she holds up the top. And I love warming up with her. I love being underneath her, and not in a bad way, not in a weird way.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there was that one time. No,
there was that one time. Hey,
that's between us.
What's happening on the road?
Oh, Tabby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cheryl Bentyne is in the house.
Oh my God!
Hello.
Can you tell everybody where you are?
I'm in my house in Palm Springs.
It's probably warm there, isn't it?
Well, it's actually not that bad. It's, high 70s, low 80s, which is cool for here. That's sweater weather for out here.
Yeah.
Do you have a fire lit?
No. But I did use the heater a couple nights. It really does cool down to the 50s kind of thing. But that's nothing compared to what you guys are.
No, we're going down. We're going down fast. There was actually frost on my lawn this morning, and I'm actually, I think, because, as you know, Cheryl, we've all been home since March, right? Like when was the last time you were home this long in your adult life?
Well, it could kind of like segue right in when I had cancer, and I was home on chemo for, how long was I out, Janice? About 6 months or something?
Yes, at least.
Well, and I got used to that thing. So it's a little
we were just thinking, Lauren was saying that it was at the Tillis Center with a gig with the New York Voices that you really felt so ill, and you went to the emergency room, I think, before the show.
And it was the next day, I think, that we heard that that it indeed was cancer, and we were all like, shit, because I think it was sort of looming around. But I remember that night very distinctly, and I that's always a crazy moment when you hear the C word on the back of the receiver or in person from the doctor. That's what's happening. So so how does that feel to reflect back on that?
Well, I said shit as well. But what's weird? They never used the word cancer. They would always say, well, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma. Well, you have non-Hodgkin, which is weird. In the hospital, I say this in my podcast when I'm sharing. I say, I don't know why, because of the stigma of the word, but I never heard that word in the hospital. Very strange.
That's very strange, because a cancer is an unbridled growth of mutant cells that are sort of pirating the healthy cells. They're like the pirates of the cell.
Pirates of the cell. They're just waiting to pounce.
Yeah.
And for me, it was 2011. It was just about Thanksgiving. It was just about now. Yeah. And where was our last gig? Was that with you guys? With New York Voices?
It was the Tillis Center.
It was it was my daughter's birthday, so I can tell you probably pretty surely that it was November 19th, because I remember, because I remember it was her birthday, and I remember I remember what we were doing that night as well. But it's a really funny funny thing. I mean, my husband had cancer in 2000. We were diagnosed in 2008.
Right.
And I remember I remember exactly where we were when we got the call that whatever was going on was actually cancer. And it went from like, oh, I wonder what's wrong with him. And maybe we should get that checked. Why do you say that? And then they go, it's cancer. And you go,
it's kind of just, it's surreal. It's like time stops.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I was in the hospital already because I had an organ removed from it. One I didn't need, by the way, spleen. So nobody needs a spleen, really.
So you're spleenless.
I'm spleenless. I think
Can
there's
you
a song
spleen?
here. So I was in the hospital, and the next morning, my doctor calls me. He was down the street. I'm sorry. This is like I'm ragging on him. He called me to tell me, what was wrong. I'm laying in the bed by myself, and I just started screaming, no, no, no. But you kind of lose control of everything. I felt like I was, out of my body. It was like, what? That's the last thing you think of. So, So there you go. And thus started the adventure. One of two.
So you
One
had
of two.
You had non-Hodgkin's first and then Hodgkin's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is weird because non-Hodgkin's defines as the tougher one. Where it goes right to the blood. Yeah. And I had 12 treatments of chemo. And then I was done. Then we went back on the road, right? For a year.
Yes.
And I'm not even kidding. About the same week, a year later, before Thanksgiving, I got sick again. We were in Seattle. And all of a sudden, there was things swelling up you could see, and I thought, oh, I got the flu. That's where you go. Am I in denial? I think so.
Denial? Well, didn't I beat that thing? Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back and this was a rough one. This was rough because they had to bring all of my numbers down in order to give me a stem cell transplant. So they had to bring my white cells down to 0, which meant I didn't have the strength to sit up in bed. I was in isolation for, I think, a week or 10 days where nobody could come in, and if they did, they were all like in baggies, kind of like how we're living now.
Right.
And then they start building they start putting the blood, if you will, back in. And it's ice cold. It's almost frozen when they put the stem cells. I got a lot of stuff to tell you, Janice, that we never talked about. So the guy standing in the hallway with the bag, it's frozen and he's warming it up with his hands. And I said, well, what's that going to feel like? 'Cause I'm just a sassy little cancer patient.
Yeah. And you're thin. So it's going to be cold. So you really are going to feel how cold that is. You probably.
Can I ask where the stem cells come from?
Me. They were mine. And when I got in when I entered the hospital that time, they took a lot of blood and they put it through that machine, blah, 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 blah. And then they have to leave it there for a while. Then it has to settle, whatever it does. So that's why I had to stay in. And as well, I had to get my numbers way down so they could build it back up.
Right.
It's outski. It's really an amazing thing.
So you had absolutely no immune system for a while.
No. Well, I didn't with the cancer either. Why I was hanging onto the mic stand before, trying not. I remember I dropped my passport. We were in an airport. I don't know if you remember. I think we were at almost the end of our tour. We were in Europe somewhere. I dropped my passport. I went to pick it up and I couldn't get up. I'm going, what the hell? I was like 112 years old and Matt I said, would you please help me? I thought something's really wrong here. So, all kinds of stuff that went on.
But isn't it funny how I think we're such weird animals, the traveling musician, these people that we're like, no, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to keep singing and keep performing because this is what I do.
Mm-hmm,
and we kind of are really in tune with our bodies in a lot of ways, but and then we're like, no, I'm good. You can, and I think when you can reflect back now, you're just, isn't there some voice in the back of your head going, what the hell was I thinking? And why didn't anybody go, get the hell out of here and go to bed?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's real interesting because that is a part of what I'm still going through.
Right.
You know, I was done in 2014. I had a bill of health, you know, just all clean remission. But from then to now, I'm still going through what I say on the podcast is the grief, the self-grief that I didn't have time to deal with. So I went back on the road, you know, like Jen, we went out there and just like kicked it.
The show
And
must go on.
the show must fucking go. But at one point, I hit a wall. I just hit an emotional wall. And my partners know about this because poor things, they had to like take the rap for this. I mean, I just couldn't function. I was crazy. I was depressed. It was post-traumatic,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's when that started, which was a couple of years after.
That's amazing.
And that's where I start with when I'm talking about my podcast, because I had to get some sort of antidepressant, I thought. So I went through like 3 or 4 of them, and I'd go out on the road and I was nuts. Do you remember?
No.
Oh, yeah. Remember,
What a good friend.
I yelled at Alan once, like at the top of my lungs, at the Milan Blue Note on the way off stage. I've never done that. I was screaming at him. Tris kind of ran in a corner. And you were already gone. I think you ran too. But that was some of the, you know, it was the wrong drug, you think?
Right.
So, you know, I had to try different ones and finally, you know,
Yes.
something that works. But it's, you know, it's a continual, it's a shift in the whole body, in the whole being that shifts for good. Like when I did my, I was in a support group in LA called We Spark. And there was one woman, you know, struggling. We all are in there. Who said one thing that stuck with me. She just looked up and said, "I'm different now." And I went, "Oh my God." It gave me permission to like realize this is a different girl. This is a different Cheryl. You know how hard I fought that though? How hard and long I fought that. My voice changed, my attitude changed, my, you know, my eyesight. I had to get cataract surgery from the steroids. A lot of changes went on.
Yeah. And so that's what compelled you to kind of start this I Sing the Body, because even now you're processing and through processing these conversations, you're getting closer to just maybe a peaceful place for yourself, or just the journey of like reckoning with it, but hopefully reaching out to other people to go. I mean, the thing that I always feel like you want to advertise is like, you're not crazy. Like,
I say that.
You're not crazy.
Yeah. Because I talked to 8 different women, and they're all very different. I didn't know what was going to happen. This was not planned, by the way. This was spontaneous. I thought, I've always wanted to find out what other women went through. And then I thought, oh, if I found out what they went through, maybe women out there will go, oh, I'm not alone in this.
So what do they have in common? Is there anything they have in common? The 8?
Sorry?
What do they have in common? Is there anything that all of you share?
Well, again, they're very, very different. There were very different cancers too. So common, I think at the end, because I kind of gear them towards, well, where are you now? How are you feeling? What can you tell people out there, women out there? And through all the grit and horrific stories, they come out of the tunnel and say, you know, I learned a lot. So I think the commonality is them just coming full circle. And even there's 2 women that are stage 4.
Wow.
And they are so inspiring and telling their story. Like, it humbles me. Oh my God. I'm learning so much just listening to these women. It's just, I think, you know, Cheryl, just sit down and shut up. You know, it's.
Well, you're providing a space for them to tell their story and share and give hope to women and men, right? That are. Tell me about the men.
No, I
Tell us about the men, Cheryl.
Tell us about the male cancer survivors. Do they go through the same process? Do they reach out? Do they go through the post-traumatic business?
Well, I think, you know, I don't deal with the men because I'm not one. And I don't understand the whole prostate thing, which is very common. That's a common cancer.
Yeah.
But I don't. I just don't deal with that because the women have kind of a camaraderie. I think men, I think they isolate. I think they deny. You know, I'm not.
You think?
I do too. I know. I do too. I'm totally a denier. And all these women went through that. You know, I go through the 5 stages of grief, and I do it kind of candidly. You know, I just kind of say, so what about denial? What about acceptance? What about bargaining? And then I go, and then grief. And it's real interesting because it all applies to what they've gone through or are still going through. So yeah, I just deal with the women and women's issues because that's where I live, and that's just what I know. You know,
well, that's a start. What's in store for your podcast? What are you going to do after the 8 women series is over?
Well, I'm still thinking about that. You know, I love what you called it. What'd you call this?
Survive it forward.
Oh, I'm gonna have to steal that.
You should steal it. That's thanks to Lori Green. Lori Green came up with that, and I did the same thing. I was like, "What?
Wow,
Brilliant!
That's great.
Survive it forward." And that is true. I mean, I have so much cancer in my side on both sides of my family. My husband, my mom, my mother-in-law, my father, my godmother. I mean, everybody is stricken. My grandmother. So cancer has been a part of my life for many years. And I don't have cancer currently. So I've always sort of been the person that's just, you know, here we go. We're going in again. Okay, this is what we got to do. And I think the funny thing about it is that you kind of join the cancer club. Like you don't realize there's the dog owners club, and there's the parent club, and there's all these clubs that you don't know exist until suddenly like you're walking a dog and you finally find a bunch of people. And the cancer world is really interesting. And you just find like so many people have gone through this. And so,
well, it's a disease that's been around for 5,000 years. So yeah, there's a lot of people.
It's horrific. Yeah, it's epidemic. It's epidemic. And you know, I have a thought. The reason I think you're good, Lauren, you know, we got to open up this stuff. We got to be joyous and let it out and blah, blah. And for me, I really believe that stress was a big part of what surfaced my cancer. I really think so. Because I kicked my husband out 2 months before I got it. And then I can tell this. I went to the doctor and he goes, you don't know how often I hear stories like this.
Okay.
That the stress gets so rough that
it finally manifests itself.
And
I think you're right, Cheryl, in that I think saying it out loud is the key to it all. Yeah. And the minute we're keeping it in, and even now, like this, I Sing the Body. It's so beautiful what you're doing. And the thing is you don't know where this is going to take you. And what a beautiful, right? But what a beautiful thing that like, you already know that it's been a beautiful exchange with 8 women, and hopefully people are listening and they're taking it in. And so I hope people will go and enjoy
Where
that.
can they find can they find your podcast?
Well, it's Apple, it's Spotify, it's Apple Podcast, it's on quite a few others. I always say your favorite podcast, just look me up, and you just type my name in because, you know, I'm not a bestseller yet.
Yeah, girl.
I'm in there. So,
but you're doing a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Thank you. Thank you
really, really
much,
great.
Anna. Thank you. Thank you.
And I think it's time to bring in our second guest, actually.
You have
Can I leave or can I?
No, you have to stay.
You have to stay. You have to stay.
It's like you have to stay on the sofa, you know.
I'm on the sofa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to bring in our friend Mario Cantone right now.
Wow! Thanks for bringing the comedian on after that. That was the feel-good movie of the year.
All right, that's what I said. You better make us laugh.
No, well, you know, look, I know there's cancer all through my family, so I get it.
You get it.
Not that I want to go down the cancer road because you just did, and we don't want the whole hour to be that. So, you know, I went through it too, and not me personally, but you know, I'm 60 years old. I'm like, when's it coming? That's all I think every day. When's it coming? I'm not a baby. A baby.
You are a baby. You're a baby.
I'm not a baby. Oh
No,
my
you're,
God.
you're the youngest. Well, maybe not the youngest one here.
No, but I'm not going to ask. All I know is I feel old, and this COVID shit, I just want to stay in friggin' bed. I want to stay in bed, and everyone's like, "What's the silver lining? Aren't you hopeful?" No, I'm not hopeful. I'm pissed off. Thank God we have a new president, because I'd be lying down doing this. Right
Well,
now.
I gotta ask you: have you been on The View since Biden got elected?
No, I haven't. I haven't done The View in a while. The last time I did
Okay.
The View, I used to do it all the time when it had some entertainment value, like people did musicals and I sang numbers and did comedy segments and co-hosted. I did a lot of things. I did it for like 18, 19 years. And then it got, it's completely about politics now. And so they don't, every time I have done it since then, it's always been political. Like I did it election day 2016, and then they had a nighttime lifetime election special where I sang a song that my husband wrote called Undecided. And that was fun. And I sang it at 10 o'clock right when you knew that son of a bitch was going to be elected. And it was just it was so weird. And, Joy had a nervous breakdown on the air. It was like Valley of the Dolls. It was ridiculous. But and then I went on a few other times after that. I went on when Anthony Scaramucci was on, and I was doing Scaramucci on the President Show on Comedy Central.
That's right. I saw you do that.
Yeah,
Right.
that lasted 11 days. And so I went on the air with him, and I know him, and I love that he's turned the corner and realizes what a dick he is.
Yeah.
But so that's the last time. But I've been, I did so much work before this thing shut everything down. I was like working. Then now I'm doing like self tapes in my living room with my husband and I. We do it like if we have auditions, we do these self tapes, which is just like, I'm old. Can I go into a friggin' office at ABC and audition for somebody? It's so weird. And then you don't get it because it's bullshit. Don't get me. I'm not drunk yet, but it's fucking coming.
Let's drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
But I got to tell you, so listen. So when I was a kid,
Oh shit! Here
Here
it
it
comes.
comes.
when I was like 16. Okay. So my sister Marion Cantone, she passed away a few years ago, cancer. And, she was a teacher in New York, but before that, she used to play Reno Sweeney's in the grand finale. She was a musical comedy performer. And, so I used to she moved to New York in 1966 from Boston, and I used to come see her, and she took me to all these Broadway shows. And she's the reason why I became an actor and a comedian. And she saw the Manhattan Transfer at Reno Sweeney's, and she raved, and she bought me the album, and I was like, my head blew off. I was like, what is this? I was like, what? And I created this group in my neighborhood where I wasn't in it. I directed it. It was like 4 kids that were younger than me, actually. And we call them the Changeables. And they would lip sync to Manhattan Transfer. And then they'd lip sync to Elton John and other singers. But most of it was like Manhattan Transfer. We did Tuxedo Junction and Operator. And I think at one point we did Black Coffee, and my Uncle Carmino fell asleep in the audience. But a little somber, that song. But but I was obsessed with you guys, and the television show I watched, and oh my God. And I saw you in concert a few times, and I'm a big fan. I'm very critical of a cappella groups and vocal harmonies because, they're hard to do, and there's a lot of them, and there's some very, very good ones. But to me, it was like no one had that sound. No one had that sound of the Manhattan Transfer. Whether it was, when Laura was in it, and then when you came in it, which was like a perfect mesh, Cheryl. It was just perfect. It was a beautiful blend. I mean, so, and I, the first time I met you both was at the Mac Awards.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That was the first time. And I was like,
yes.
I was like fanboying all over the place. I was like, oh my God. Notice I didn't say fangirl.
I dropped my phone in the toilet that night. That's how I remember. Yeah, my BlackBerry. That's
because they honored you that night.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I still dropped my phone in the toilet. Anyway.
I would have
Room of
gotten
honor,
it.
too.
I would have put on a big yellow latex glove and gotten it for you if there was a glove available, but
Okay.
there wasn't. So
Please
I just
go
put
on.
it.
Please
Anyway,
go on.
so that's where I met you, and I was very upset. And then I saw you at your son's graduation.
Yes, from York Prep.
My friend Robin, my best friend Robin, her daughter graduated from there too. So I was there. But that's But I'm a big fan. And the other like harmony group that I really really loved.
I hope it's the New York Voices.
I love them too. But
Nothing.
I love them too, Lauren. But I have to. I've seen you all over PBS. I know who you are.
We're big on the big P.
Excellent. Really good. And I go back further. I mean,
Go on.
even though they were a little religiously for me, I loved Take Six.
Oh, yeah.
Take Six were
God,
those were they were brilliant. And Mervyn Warren, who was one of the original members, I heard they kind of kicked him out because he was gay. Yeah. And I mean that and then he did all the musical supervision and a lot of the arrangements for the Preacher's Wife, the movie that Whitney Houston.
That's right.
He's a brilliant boy, Mervyn Warren.
Sister Act.
Did he do Sister Act too?
Yeah.
He's a brilliant kid.
you know that he produced our last record.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
All right, I'm going to send you that record. All right.
I love him. I think he's
I do
a
too.
brilliant boy.
Yeah.
A brilliant boy. And the group Take Six did remain, and it was still very, very good. But it was a
That's
slight difference. But I saw them. I saw them in concert too. The original cast album. Yeah. So anyway, I love music. I sing. My husband's a singer. I sing. I love to sing, and I don't. And people. And every time I sing at a benefit, or I see people go, "I didn't know you could sing." I'm like, I've been doing this for 90 fucking years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you sing, Mario? What do you sing?
What do I sing? Well,
Italian love songs. Or?
No, Janice. Thanks for racially profiling me. God, let me get my cigar and pinky ring. Hold on. Well, I mean, as a comedian, I always was musical. I always would break into song. I was always the melomaniac of comedians. And I always, like, if I headline at Caroline's or Gotham Comedy Club, I would always have a piano. And then once I did Laugh Horror on Broadway, I had my band and, I sang. Half that show was music, not half of it, but a lot of it was music. But I sing as myself, and I do Liza Minnelli and Jim Morrison and Judy Garland but I think I'm one of the only comedians that stand-up that comes from the world of stand-up that plays the Carlisle. And I did it twice, and I was supposed to do it I did it twice. And I'm such a pretentious, entitled, elderly homosexual because it's like, what, are you doing the Gotham Comedy Club? Are you going to do that again? And I'm like, no, I'm playing the Carlisle. It costs $2,000 to come see me. I'm a high-end hooker. You kidding me?
Absolutely.
Melania Trump's got nothing on me, baby. So yeah, I did it twice, and I had a great time. I mean, I hate small stages. I like a theater, but it's the Carlisle. It's classic. So I'll accept it.
Suck it up.
Yeah, it is. And I have my band, and I added a little bit more music than I even usually do. So yeah, what do I sing? I sing "I'm Gonna Live Till I Die," which I love. It's a great tune. I fucking love that tune. It's just great. Oh, you just got a mosquito?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were slapping me. I should have went like that. Oh, she hits me when you're not around. So what else do I sing? I sing a mashup of a great tune called Make Your Own Kind of Music.
Hey.
Into a song called Different from the motion picture Puffin' Stuff that Mama Cass played a character called Witch Hazel, and she sang that song in the movie, written by Charlie Fox and Norman Gimbel. And it's
that one.
And it's a great tune, and it's my husband arranged it. It's the Make Your Own Kind of Music is like wrapped around it.
I love Mama Cass.
That voice was glorious.
I've been thinking about that tune. There's a new world.
Shut up! I've been thinking about it.
I know.
Stop yelling.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around. Notice I changed the key on you. My husband's like, you changed the key on me.
Look, you're the guest. You can sing whatever key you want to sing it in.
My husband is Barry Dixon. He was in the original One from This Island on
yeah.
Broadway.
Is he there? Can we see him?
No, he's upstairs on a Zoom call. He's the artistic director of a theater in Seattle, and he's been home since March 13th because he packed his shit up and came home because that's the kind of husband he is.
Yes.
And we've been together for almost 30 years, and he's a good man, and he's a talented guy. He wrote all my original music for Laugh and he writes He wrote a couple of great new tunes. He wrote this Liza Minnelli tune that I do now that's hilarious. And he doesn't like take their songs and rewrite the lyrics. He writes a whole new tune that's kind of, you go, oh, did she sing this? Then you're like, oh, no, she didn't. And he wrote me this Bruce Springsteen number that's hilarious. Because the end of the show, I do Judy Garland and then I flip into Bruce Springsteen and people go, wow, he's actually can be masculine. Even though I'm not gay enough now at this point, as you know. But that's the way of the world now.
Oh, hey there. But is Judy Garland? I mean, that's really where you your specialties are in doing Judy Garland and how did that manifest itself for you early on? Were you
my mother was a singer when she was younger, when she was on the radio, and then she got married and became a bookie.
What?
And yeah, my mother was a bookie and a compulsive gambler. That's a whole other thing. Oh, it's great. It's a great story. She died of cancer. She died of cancer. She was 56 years old when she died.
Oh, Jesus. What kind of cancer?
Mouth, oral.
Oral cancer.
Yeah. So she was a singer when she was young. She would sing. After that, she had a vodka gimlet. She'd get up at the weddings and sing "You Made Me Love You," which was the only song she knew.
I remember that song.
Yeah, well, of course. Who doesn't? I hope so.
We have to do a time step with it.
But she loved Judy Garland. And when at 2 years old, when I was 2 years old, I knew every word to every song on the double album set of the Carnegie Hall album. And I would get up at the coffee table and I would sing for the guests. And then at 8 years old, I graduated to Funny Girl and I would sing those songs. And then I was gay and my mother wasn't happy about it. And I was like, you know what, Ma? Mixed fucking messages.
Right. Don't have me sing Barbara and Judy.
Are you fucking kidding me?
But you went to Emerson, right? Was it just theater? Did you study theater at Emerson?
I majored in acting and I minored in comedy writing. There was a group called the Emerson Comedy Workshop that I got in my freshman year, which was the hottest thing on campus. It was founded by Dennis Leary, Lauren Dabrowski. And it was a sketch comedy group. You couldn't get tickets to the show. It was like the big thing. And this was, people would want to go see this more than the main stage theatrical productions in the theater arts department. So that kind of, and then I started doing stand-up. My first professional stuff was like I was 19. I was in Provincetown, Massachusetts. My cousin owned this club at the time that I would get up and do, stand-up, and terrifying, and it was interesting. Anyway, and then I when I left college, I just I came in and went to LA for 9 months, and then that was horrible. And then I came here and auditioned at the Improv on 44th Street and got in.
Bud Friedman.
And it was actually Silver, because Silver Friedman who got the New York club in the divorce, and Bud got the LA club. Bud was a friend too, but Silver really kind of she saw me and went, and it was weird because I did some cabaret rooms like the Duplex and stuff like that, but I was doing mostly like mainstream comedy clubs, and I didn't at the beginning. I mean, in the early 80s, in the mid 80s, even I didn't talk about being gay on stage, but I didn't lie. And and I was doing impressions of Betty Davis and Julia Child. And so if you didn't know, you were a friggin' idiot.
That should be a tip off.
Yeah, really. But it was terrifying. That the whole fear was that I was going to get called a faggot from the back of the room at 1 a.m. in the morning by some, patron. Didn't happen at the Improv, but it certainly happened to some clubs when I would go out of town, which I hated to do. I hated, like Toronto or Princeton, New Jersey, even, which was not a good experience. I don't care what kind of Ivy League college they have there.
They're not very forward thinking.
God, it's like you go just a little bit outside, and it's like, are you kidding me?
I know.
I know
No.
it's frightening.
It's weird. It's fucking horrible. Yeah, well, look, there's a little less than half this country that voted for that prick. So,
Oh man,
there you go.
I know that is a
There's a new world coming,
and it's
Janice,
So, yeah.
remember I was like, can we please do that song for the episode that we just did for the before the big vote? And I was like, I want to do that song. And I was like, I actually was like, let's get Mark Kibble. Like, let's just do a kick-ass vocal arrangement. And then like
Mark Kibble or Mervyn Warren? You said Mark Kibble.
I did say Mark Kibble because with the Janice, because they're on the road with him a lot. So but we also know Mervyn. But I love that song, and I felt like that's the song to be singing right now. We have to be singing about hope.
Maybe I'll sing it next time with the Carlisle and beat you all to it.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Or Happiness Is Just a Thing Called Joe.
Oh, I love that song.
That's the song of the hour. That's the song of the hour.
Right?
That's a great tune.
Beautiful in harmonies.
Judy Garland sang that to her son Joey Luft on the television show in 1964.
She know this.
Yeah. Poor little Joey sat there. He didn't know what the hell he was in for.
Listen,
Didn't Cher just do a version of that too,
Yes,
Cheryl?
she did. Yeah.
Did you? It's just a thing called joy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But I was actually supposed to do the Carlisle again in April, and it was like Betty Buckley was there, and then it was me. It was me next. I canceled, and then it was Michael McDonald, who I fucking love.
yeah, he can sing.
Oh God,
He's a
boy,
good
do I love
singer.
him. And his voice is so sad, and I kind of stalk him a little bit. Like I'll go to his concert. He knows me, and we know each other, but he's the nicest guy in the world, and that voice is just beautiful. Yeah, it was him, and then it was Wayne Brady.
Oh,
So we all got canceled. So, but I'll go back again, and you all have to come because you know what? You're surprised that I sing, Lauren. I can tell, and you'll come see me sing.
No, listen,
But most of it's stand up too, by the way. So,
but the way your placement in your speech is like, are you kidding me? It's all horn, baby. You're like, you throw that sound and it's full on. Are you kidding
I'm
me?
a brass band. I'm a harpsichord. I'm a clarinet. But you know what's weird? You know what's weird for me is like I was always afraid of like doing a ballad, and my
I
husband.
don't blame you.
They tell your secrets.
Yeah, you really, Janice, don't make me choke you. You're like one of the greatest singers. So
Come and get me.
yeah, I'm coming over. Bring me some gumbo. I did. I was always afraid to do it, and I think my husband and I did one of those Lincoln Center American Songbooks. It was the only show we ever really did together, and we kind of talked about our relationship. We didn't, it was really like about the dynamics of our relationship. It wasn't about like the chronological order. And then it wasn't like, and then on Broadway in 1996, I did this show and this is a song. Like I didn't do that shit. We just did songs that kind of related to us. So we sang together, we sang solo. But I sang the song that Eric Benet and David Foster wrote called The Last Time I'll Fall in Love. Did you ever hear that?
No.
I love Eric Benet. I think he's got a beautiful voice, and he's a terrific writer, especially his first 3 albums. And so the song's called "The Last Time I'll Fall in Love," and I sang it, and I had to stop it like towards the end of it when I was singing it live because it caught me. I couldn't get through it because I was gonna go, and it was such a weird thing. So I'm always afraid, but. Now at the end of my show, I always my encore. I always do like a ballad. Now I do. Oh my God, that Shaka Khan song.
Don't Go to Strangers.
Nope. It's written by her, and I'm see what happens. It's called Age.
No, it's because you're drunk.
Not that. I've only had a half.
There's a lot of ice in that cup, Mario.
Oh, I know what it is. It's called Love Me Still. Shaka Khan. I think she wrote it with Bruce Hornsby, I think. It's a beautiful song. It's a gorgeous song.
that is the conundrum of the singer. I mean, especially in ballads, when you're trying to evoke and portray and feel this emotion, and the voice is connected to your breathing and your emotion, and so, God damn it, and so.
Call the exterminator, for Christ's sake.
But I think, but as a comedian, we don't like to get too serious. I mean, I certainly have a lot of rage and anger, but
Certainly,
which is
yes.
half my stuff.
Well, welcome to the freaking club.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I get to do it on stage. I mean, I was always the angry comedian, as my husband called me. But when you do a ballad, when you finally give into that, which is just recent for me, it's scary because I don't want to feel that.
Well, you have to be vulnerable.
And there was a, it's so weird because I'm not a religious person, but and neither is my husband. We're spiritual. I'm spiritual. He's like, whatever. But he turned me on to like some contemporary Christian singers when I first met him years ago, like Bob Carlyle, who was with the Allies, who would probably, beat me up in a schoolyard if he knew I was a homosexual. And Brian Duncan, do you know who he was?
No.
Oh God, his voice was
Great singers.
but this guy, he was great. But you know what? And I knew him. We used to talk on the phone once in a while. He was another one. He had some ballads on some of his albums that were so gorgeous, and he would never do them live. Never. Because he just didn't like to do them. And now I get it. It's like, okay. And because his stuff was all about joy and Jesus.
But you know what Judy Garland said, and you probably know this, Mario. There was a quote that she said, "I'm not up here to cry. I'm here to make them cry."
I know, and I think she
holds it. Oh man,
she could hold it. And I think because she was used to singing songs like that, she was conditioned with that. But when you're conditioned as a comedian to not feel that shit, it's another thing. It's a very weird thing.
But she's also so checked into that feeling too. So you're kind of just a vessel. Cheryl, I've just actually thinking about what Mario's talking about with how being brave enough to sing ballads is one thing, right? And then there's like when you sing ballads at certain stages in your life's journey, and you go, shit, now I know what this song means.
Yeah, absolutely. You understand it. When you get older, and fear sets in, that's when you go, absolutely.
So Cheryl, when you think about like coming back from like your cancer journey, not to bring it back to the wah-wah, but also that way in which like all of a sudden you go back to old, maybe repertoire that you sang with Manhattan Transfer. And then you go, I don't want to sing that song right now. I do not want to touch that. I don't want those words in my mouth. I don't want that in my head, or like it means something different to you now. What do you have any like stories about how that felt?
Not so much in the past, but right now I'm writing and putting together a show that's expressing that. I never did that before. We had our repertoire. We had our show beginning to end, and I don't think there was anything in there that emotionally hit me. My voice was a little shaky and still is. So that's the bad news. But yeah, now I'm finding music, not to preach because just to find songs that I go, oh, yeah, that is how I felt. So it's kind of fun right now. I'm having a good time.
That's great. I mean, once we started not doing solos, we lost that chance to really do something personal and emotive.
Yeah. I miss that.
I miss it too.
It's another show.
Well, I know, but it's one of the things about just the journey of the artist, and when you take in this repertoire and you go, what am I going to do with it? How am I going to honestly address it? And different stages of your life, you feel like you've got something to say, and other times you're like, I don't feel that song. But yeah, it's very, very interesting point of view. I was just curious about that.
You have to connect to it. I mean, as a newbie in the ballad world, my husband was like, "Why don't you sing this song?" I was trying to find a ballad. He was like, and I was like, "No, I don't know what that is, and it doesn't." No.
Oh, you'll find it, and it'll
find it. And then
It'll find you.
Like that's the one.
It'll find you.
You know when. You really do. I'm gonna live till I die.
Absolutely. Well,
I
we're
love that. I wrote that down. I'm going to find that.
Oh, it's a great tune. Sammy Davis Jr. does a great version of it.
Oh,
And
Sam.
Julie Wilson sang it in a movie called This Is the Night. It's called, I think it was a movie with Anthony Franciosa and her, and it was a weird movie. But she sang the shit out of it in that movie.
Wow.
And then there's a Sammy Davis Jr. version of it too. That's
let's
great.
talk about him for a second.
Let's
Who
talk
Is there a
about
better voice?
sing
Was there a
and
better voice? No.
what
He was-
I know. Ridiculous.
And he could do everything. He was funny. He could do
Everything.
impressions. And you know what? He was a black man, and back then he had to do everything to be that recognized and to be that
Sure.
touted.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, so many black men today talk about as a business, whether it's corporate or an entertainer, you have to be better than,
Yeah.
you have to be the best at in order to get recognized. It's been
And then he added another level by becoming Jewish.
I know he sure did. He sure did. He was. What? I was doing a children's show years ago. I did this children's show called Steam Pipe Alley at WWOR TV in Secaucus, New Jersey. It was years ago, and from '88 to '93, it was a very adult children's show. We had a 52% adult audience. I had games like we had a game called Find Sammy Davis Jr.'s Eye in the Pie. I swear to God, we actually did it. And we had an obstacle course every Sunday, and we had an obstacle course at the end, and it would always had a theme. And on Mother's Day, we did the Mommy Dearest obstacle course. And it was sick. We got away with murder. We did sketches. I was Raging Pan. It was Martin Scorsese's version of Peter Pan, and I was Robin De Niro as Peter
Raging
Pan.
Pan.
Yeah, and I was like, "Did you touch my tank?" I didn't say "Fuck." I said, "Did you touch my tank?" And then I was Joe Pesci as Captain Hook. I mean, it was a lot of shit. I was Luciano Pavarotti. It was called Pump the Gas, where Luciano Pavarotti worked at a gas station and made the kids play musical chairs for Nicola, and they would sit on whoopee cushions and they would fight. It was so ridiculous. But anyway, so it was the heyday of Channel 9. Howard Stern had a show. Jackie Mason had a show. Richard Bay had a show. It was crazy. And we were the Morton Downey Jr. And then it was us. And it was a passive superstation. It went out across the country to like about 150 markets. And so I think my second year there, Sammy Davis Jr. came and he was hosting the New York leg of the Jerry Lewis Telethon. And I remember my producer was like, he wants to meet you. And I was like, I don't want to fucking meet him. I do Find My Eye in the Pie with him. He's going to kill me. I was like 28. I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, no, he saw it. I'm like, he saw it? What did he say? He goes, and so my Southern Floridian.
The eye in the pie.
Like, you know what? He was like, well, he said, I don't know what's so funny about finding my eye in the pie. I was like, oh my God. So they brought me downstairs and we had to do a little thing together. And it was he was on Steam Pipe Alley. We did this little segment of me reading his book, Why Me? And I read it and it was an improv little thing. And
Yeah,
we
it's
did
supposed
it.
to be Yes, I Can, isn't it?
Was Yes, I Can? No, Yes, I Can was
Can.
the first one. Yes,
Yes.
I Can was the first one. I think Why Me was the second one.
That was the
wasn't it?
sequel to Yes, I Can?
I
Wow.
think so. I could be
All right,
wrong.
the wrong
Anyway,
direction. Yeah.
who the fuck knows? I'm old. I don't remember shit. But anyway, I remember him, and there's a picture of him pinching my cheek that my father used to have up on the fireplace. So I met him, and he was really nice to me, and he was so kind.
Yeah.
And the night of the telethon, he took a break from like 2 a.m. to like 2 to like maybe 10 o'clock because he's a Sagittarian like me. We don't like to get up early, and we want to sleep. So he gave me his blessing to cover for him and host the telethon, the New York leg of it from 2 to 10. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was pretty awesome. Yeah. So, and I remember going into his dressing room, and it was probably a year before he was diagnosed with cancer. I remember going into his dressing room and he had a big plastic bowl of cigarettes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Already smoked or packs?
I think they were all packs, but there were a ton of them.
He
More than his rider. It was in his rider.
He died of cancer?
Yeah.
He died of cancer. Yeah,
He smoked on stage while he was singing. too.
They all did.
Yeah,
Frank
they all did.
smoked on stage. You know, one of the, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest comedian working today, David Chappelle, who's my buddy, and I love him.
Totally. Smoked
Oh,
the whole time.
Yes,
Smoker.
yes.
He's old. He smokes.
He's the
Wow.
sweetest man. Did you see the show with David Letterman the other night?
I did.
Yes.
Oh,
I did.
I
Well,
was
you know,
crying. I
he
didn't
is.
know.
I've
didn't
known
know.
him since he was 17 years old, and he was always brilliant, and
Mhm.
loved him to death. He was a friend, not a great friend, but an acquaintance and a good friend. And I always kind of just would be like, I would say to him, "You're brilliant. There's no one like him." And then when he had his show, I think his second season, he called me up and he did these 2 segments. And one was called Ask a Black Dude and Ask a Gay Dude. And they were separate. And Paul Mooney did Ask a Black Dude and I did Ask a Gay Dude. And it was just,
Oh, yes.
we would go out and ask people
Yes.
to ask questions of Black people and gay people that they would never ask to their face. And then they would put me, it was separately done, in front of the monitor, and they would roll the questions and we would improvise and try to be funny about
What
them.
were some of the
And
questions for asking?
one of them was, I don't know, one of them was like, "What's with the rainbow?" One kid said, "What's with the rainbow?" And I think he was a rapper, this kid, and he's some semi-famous rapper. And I don't know what I said to him. I said, "You know what? I don't know what the rainbow is." I said, "But you know what I'm going to do?" It's an old joke. I said, "I'm going to put a Band-Aid over your left eye and make you my Nelly." Because Nelly used to wear the Band-Aid under his Nelly. And Dee Snider did something where he bent over and he was like, "You want this ass?" And I just was like, you're such a tease. And I was like, but David was so kind to me and so good. And the thing that he did about the thing with that is that, and especially in the urban Black community, especially back then, you know, the machismoism of the Black man and the Latino man. Look, I expect the homophobia from the rednecks in the Midwest and the
Absolutely.
South. It's tough when you get it from a Black man or a Latino man in your city, or in Queens or in Brooklyn or whatever. So he took Black guy and gay guy and put them on the same level. He just went, and it was such an important thing he did for not only for Black people, but for Latino people, but for everybody. It was such an amazing thing. And he did it very subtly and very kind of, this is the way it should be. And I went to see him on Broadway and I stood up in the audience because he was taking questions. And I said, "It's your gay dude." And I said, "You get so much flack from gay people and trans people." I said, I just want people to know what you did with me and Paul Mooney and how you equalized us. Right. And it was very important. And because I'm going to tell you something about David. When people do come at him, and because he's brave on stage, but off stage, it guts him when people come at him. He's the kindest.
There's so much humility and humanity in him, and he really is a beautiful, beautiful man. Don't you feel like, though, this big, huge pause that we're experiencing as a world, and that it's almost like, sit your asses down, everybody, sit down and deal and get quiet and hear all the voices. I mean, every single one of them, the ugly, the good, the all of it. And we're all having to just deal with our stuff.
Yeah,
and
but having Trump in office the last 4 years, because he's such a pig, it has caused the liberals in this world to police everything you fucking say. And I'm telling you, it's killed comedy. David goes out and says what he wants to say, because he's brave that way. But at the same time, it scares him. I know off stage, it's tough when someone comes at you. I say what I want to say pretty much, but I'm certainly not, as famous or as in the public eye as he is. And I'm not as prolific either, but it's tough for a comedian. I mean, I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal man, of course, but the fact that you can't say certain things and people come at you, it's just, it's awful. It's ruined. It's fucked it all up. And it almost makes you go, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean,
we're in a big transition. I mean, for both, it's comedy, it's music. It's a reckoning, and on the one hand, it's becoming aware and making room and addressing the systems and the policies that have kept many people back and allowed other people to enjoy maybe a fast track. But I have tomorrow a 19-year-old daughter in my house who elevates my conversation and educates me, because the kids that are coming up are also really hip to to a worldview. But it's all really muddy right
They do.
now. I
But I'll
think.
tell you, the kids police you too.
Yes, they do. They come hard
It's
for you.
like, hey,
No.
you know, don't fucking come at me because I use the wrong pronoun. I'm 90.
Right.
Don't do that to me because
I know.
and I'm a homosexual. Walk in my shoes.
Right.
You know what I went through? You know, the shows, the jobs I was fired from and didn't get because I was gay. I have a list.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough to talk about that as a white man now because I know, you know, but I experienced it. I know. I felt it. I went through it. And look, let me tell you something about the youngins. They're leading the parade, and it's a great thing. And they're smart for the most part, except a lot of them don't wear masks. And I really believe that for a generation that doesn't like labels, they have more friggin' labels than any other generation in the history of the world. Like, you know, look, in my day, it was like gay, straight, lesbian, and it was transsexual, you know, or transvestite. I mean, these were just words that were okay. And I know it's changed, but if we fucking slip up, shut the fuck up. All right. I get it. I know I'll get there. Or I won't, but it doesn't mean I'm against you in any way.
No, not at all.
It's a fucking word, man. And you know what? And even with, you know, the N word or, you know, as we say, the F word. And let me tell you something. I use fag all the time because I can.
You can.
And then when someone comes back at you or retweets it, it's like, are you gay? Because if you're not allowed to use it.
Right. Right.
So there's that too. But I just look. Sorry, I just went off. But I really think
Okay. I mean,
appreciate that.
we all have kids about that age. Mine's 25. Janice,
Mine's 27, 26.
27. Yeah, and you're right. Either they can go one way, but my daughter, she was out at the Black Lives Matter march every day for a while, and I love that.
That's
I love
awesome.
that because that's their education. Right?
That is.
That's it.
And they're the ones that get out there too. Look, the youngins get out there. I'm home watching Turner Classic Movies on my couch. You know, I'm not going. I'm tired.
No, they don't go out anymore.
And they went out, they came out and voted.
Oh, they sure did. And you know what? It's one of the first times that they all came out.
That's right. Because they knew
This
how
was a
important
big
it was.
Yeah.
Well, I told Zoe, I said, you will never forget this for the rest of your life.
No.
Ever.
So if we fuck
so
up
important.
if we fuck up a personal pronoun, too bad.
Yeah, too bad.
Exactly.
Calm down.
Too fucking bad.
And I, you know, I don't have any kids, but but you know, I have so many friends that have kids, and they're going through the same thing where it's like, don't police me in my own house. I mean, really, am I against you? Come on. I mean, it's so much also about the intent behind the word, the hate behind the word.
Absolutely.
You know when there's hate behind it. That's what's important, and that's what's upsetting, and that's what you need to take down in this world. That's what you take down. That's the important thing to wrestle to the ground is the hate. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I got a
Absolutely.
lot of
And that's
healing
why
to
we
do
all
here.
try and bring as much love and joy into the world as we
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is why the hell we've been doing this Vocal Gumbo show, because Janice and I were doing Vocal Mania back when we would gig live at a venue.
I remember those days.
Remember those days? And we would sing together and make out. Yeah. So, you know.
You did? Oh, hot. Oh, hot ladies.
Didn't sell a lot of tickets, but we had fun. So anyway, but you know, we still really wanted that community. But honestly, as we got into like going, well, let's do the singing music thing. But then we were like, we need to talk about some shit, because like you can't ignore Black Lives Matter. You can't ignore RBG's, you know, passing. You can't ignore Say Her Name. You can't ignore, you know, the presidential election. You can't ignore all of it. So we've just found that like, so talking about cancer, talking about comedy, you know, and talking about you and how you are how you're living through this moment in time. And we're all trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do, how we're going to get there. And also the thing that I am worried about is like, imagine like when the veil is lifted and we've all got our vaccines or whatever, like it's like, think about like you've come out of the bunker and they pull back the curtains and we're all like
Kimmy
you know,
Schmidt.
like, how do we re-enter this world? There's going to be talk about post-traumatic syndrome. There's going to be a lot of trauma that we're all going to go through. So if we can be talking about it and get for real on this stuff.
Well, you know, I'm a bit of a recluse anyway, so this is not. It's not too bad. I think the youngins, you know, the kids in their 20s, 30s. But when you're like, I'm good. I'm home. I don't want to go anywhere. And I love that you get to go. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't go to that wedding. Oh, I'm sorry. Who died? I can't go to the funeral. You know, it's the greatest thing. Oh, who's doing a reading? No, I can't go.
That's true.
Awesome.
I do love that too.
Oh my God.
Kids, we're out of time.
Okay, this was great.
But I
Mario.
want to thank you, Mario Cantone, who will be appearing in his living room for the next few months. All right. And Cheryl Bentyne. Please, everybody, if you have someone who might benefit or from hearing her podcast, can we see that again?
I
sing the body.
I sing the body.
I love that.
Check it out.
I love your hair. It's great.
Morgan Ames tomorrow. So
Morgan Ames.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. Great vocal arranger, singer.
And what's on the horizon for you, Carlisle, in your living room? It's just like, just do it. Just brand it.
The wall like the Carlisle.
Mario, just claim it.
Well, I'll be the first thing I'll probably do is go back to the Carlisle. But you know, I actually did Pyramid in studio. I do the game shows. You know, I'm the Charles Nelson Riley of 2021. I do Bat Game and Pyramid. I love doing them. And we did a COVID test, and I did 2 episodes of Pyramid that'll be on in January.
Wow!
You know, I did the Wendy Williams show. I had to do a COVID test. You spit in it. You spit for about 4 hours until you fill up the vial.
I say, you can go in now.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. You're negative.
Oh, God. That's great.
Well,
all right, girls.
We are so much. Both of you. Grateful for both of you.
It was a privilege to be up here with you girls. You're all incredibly talented.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge fan, and I am. You have no idea. It's insane. Boop, bop, boop, bop.
Go, Mario.
Boop, bop, boop, bop. Oh yeah!
Oh man!
South Birmingham in Birmingham. I'm in South Birmingham in Alabama. Oh, place where people go to dance the night away.
Oh.
You better work.
Mario's going to play us out. Whoa.
Mario Cantone and Cheryl Bentyne.
I'm going to get that Mervyn Warren produced album.
I'm going to send you the junction. I'm going to send it to you. All right. Just email me your address.
I will. I got to go fry up some sausage and peppers. Okay.
All right. Go do it.
Get the hell out of here. Everybody
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Everybody tune in to Vocal Gumbo. We've got another happy hour. Meet the artists on November 27th. And then we have episode 9 on November 28th at 8 p.m. and 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be an amazing show. Rhiannon, Claudia Cunha, Jane Monheit, Peter Eldridge, Paul Jost, Maddie Pizzarelli, Reggie Bowens. Jeez Louise, what else do you people want? We have got so much music for you. Frankly, we have to go finish writing it. So
right now, let's get to the studio, Lauren. But first,
so grateful for you, my dear Janice, and our producer up there in the sky, Lori Green.
Thank you, Lori Green.
Thank you.
Please like our page, tell your friends about Vocal Gumbo, and join our Patreon family if you want to become part of the Vocal Gumbo community. We love you. We appreciate you. Let's get through this and bring some joy into the world.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care, you guys.
Calling all around the world. Mumbo jumbo, stir up the gumbo. Calling all around the world. Get it. Start with a roux, that's me and you. Add the Holy Trinity. That's rhythm, chords, and melody. Come on now, add your spice. Tell your story, very nice. Calling all around the world. Stir that vocal gumbo now. Calling all. Stir it up. Get it.